Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss what is vapor pressure and how does this vapor pressure of a solution vary with the composition. Now first of all, let's define what is vapor pressure. Now suppose we have this container in which we have a certain liquid. Now this liquid at all temperature undergoes evaporation process, and if suppose this container is sealed, the molecules present at the surface of the liquid will be easily going from liquid state to the vapor state. So initially the rate of vaporization will be very fast. Now as these vapors occupy this space above the liquid, the rate of evaporation will decrease. Now these molecules of vapor which is present above the surface of liquid, they are moving in random motion. So when these molecules move in a random motion, there undergoes a number of collisions. So because of this collision, again they lose energy and they are again condensed into liquid states. So initially there was vaporization process, but once the vapors are formed, these vapor molecules, because of this collision, again this is condensed into liquid. So again condensation starts. So a process is occurring when evaporation and condensation is taking place simultaneously. So after a certain period of time, the rate of evaporation and the rate of condensation will be identical. That is, when an equilibrium state will be established. So we are talking about this equilibrium state. When the equilibrium state is achieved, the pressure exerted by these vapors on the surface of liquid, that means we have a liquid, above this we have a vapors. So the pressure exerted by these vapors on the surface of liquid is known as the vapor pressure. So whenever we talk of this vapor pressure, we always keep in mind that the system has reached equilibrium states. So let me explain this. So we have a container. Now this container is sealed. Now we have placed some liquid. So this is liquid. Now above this liquid we have molecules of vapor. So this is vapor. Now a stage comes when these vapors, that is conversion of vapors into liquid and liquid into vapor, both are in equilibrium state. This is liquid going into vapor, or this is vapor coming into liquid states. So these processes taking place simultaneously, and when the system reaches equilibrium state, now the pressure exerted by these vapors present above the liquid solution on the surface of liquid, that is what we call as vapor pressure. That means at this condition we have this liquid is in equilibrium with vapor. So when the system reaches equilibrium state, we are having vapor pressure. Now this being equilibrium, we can define this by equilibrium constant Kp, because we are having vapor. So this Kp will be equals to the vapor pressure. Now that means this Kp is equals to the vapor pressure. Now this Kp being equilibrium constant, this equilibrium constant is unaffected by the change in quantity of liquid, or the volume of liquid, or the shape of liquid, or the size of shape of container in which the liquid is being placed, or the size of container in which the equilibrium is being placed. But this Kp only changes only when the temperature of the solution is changed. Similarly, the second factor that affects this vapor pressure is nature of solvent or the solution. Now, if suppose the molecules of solvent molecules are held by strong intermolecular attractive force in the liquid state, then tendency for this liquid to get converted into vapor will be decreased, as there exists a stronger attractive force between the molecules of liquid, vapor pressure will be less. On the other hand, if the intermolecular attractive force present between the molecules of solvent is weak, then these molecules will have easily converted into the vapors. As a result, the vapor pressure will be more. So simply saying, vapor pressure is depending only on nature of liquid solution as well as the temperature of solution in which the process is being measured or the equilibrium is being achieved. Apart from this, vapor pressure is independent of volume of the liquid taken in the container, shape of container, size of container, etc. So now this vapor pressure, how this vapor pressure affects when a particular non-volatile solute is added to this solvent. This is for a pure component. Now we add a non-volatile solute. That means these solute particles will not have any contribution to the vapor pressure of this solution. The vapor pressure is coming only from the solvent molecule which is volatile. So now we are taking the case of vapor pressure of a solution containing volatile solute and non-volatile solute. Now this variation of vapor pressure due to the presence of this non-volatile solute is defined by a law which is known as Raoult's law. So by use of this Raoult law, we can quantitatively express how much vapor pressure is being affected or changed if we add some quantities of non-volatile solute. Now first of all, let me explain you. Now initially we have a pure solvent. All the molecules present at the surface are only solvent molecules. Now to this solvent we are adding some non-volatile solute which is completely miscible with the solvent. Now when we add solute, the surface contains molecules of solvent as well as solute. So when we have the molecules of solute and solvent present at the surface of this liquid, the number of solvent molecules per unit area that is going in the vapor phase will decrease. As the number of molecules of solvent present per unit area decreases, the vapor pressure of solution will always be decreased. That is, the vapor pressure of solution containing a non-volatile solute will always be less than the vapor pressure of pure solvent. Now how much this is being affected, that is defined by a law which is known as Raoult's law. So look at this, we are discussing Raoult's law. Raoult's law. Now whenever we use this Raoult's law, that two particular things that we have to keep in our mind. The Raoult's law is applicable only for ideal solution. Only for ideal solution. So first of all, let me define what is the meaning of ideal solution. So a solution, just for a time being, we'll define what are the conditions required for ideality later on. So is similar to ideal gas. And ideal gas is only idealized concept, because none of the gas that is present on the universe shows ideal behavior. All these gases are known as real gas. They shows deviation from ideality, or they are known as non-ideal gas. Only under certain restricted conditions these ideal gas, real gases moves towards ideal behavior. In the same way, none of the solution is 100% ideal, but they are nearly ideal solution. So whenever we use the term ideal solution, that solution should be a very dilute solution. So ideal solution should be very dilute. So we are having a very dilute solution. That means we are using a very small quantity of solid that is being dissolved in a given solvent. Second thing, this Raoult's law is applicable in liquid solutions only for liquid solution. Now, according to this Raoult's law, as I have told you, when we add a non-volatile solute, the vapor pressure of solution is always decreased. Then this Raoult's law says the vapor pressure of a solution containing a non-volatile solute is always proportional to the mole fraction of the solvent. So according to this Raoult's law, mathematically the vapor pressure of solution that we stand by Ps, this is directly proportional to the mole fraction of solvent. So that means this Ps, vapor pressure of solution, this is equals to P naught into mole fraction of solvent. This Ps, that is vapor pressure of solution containing a non-volatile solute, and this P naught is vapor pressure of pure solvent. So that means, look at this mole fraction is always less than 1, fractional, because this is always less than 1. So if this mole fraction is less than 1, that means some quantity multiplied by another quantity which is less than 1 will always be less than very small value. That means we say that this vapor pressure of solution is always less than the vapor pressure of pure solvent. So this is the case. So vapor pressure of solution containing a non-volatile solid is always less than the vapor pressure of pure solvent. And how much this vapor pressure equals to? That is the product of the mole fraction of solvent and the vapor pressure of pure solvent. This is what we call as Raoult's law. And now we rearrange this equation. So look at this, we have, let this be equation A. So Ps divided by P naught is equals to mole fraction of solvent. I express this solvent by 1. 1 represents solvent, 2 will represent solute. So now mole fraction of solvent present in the solution is equal to the ratio of vapor pressure of solution to that of vapor pressure of pure solvent. Now this is the case when we are having a non-volatile solute present in a volatile solvent. So now look at this, let this be equation A. So we have another form of mole fraction. Now this mole fraction can be expressed in terms of now mole fraction of solute. Now we are saying this decrease in vapor pressure is due to the presence of a non-volatile solute. So depending on the quantity of non-volatile solute, the vapor pressure decrease will be less. Now instead of defining the mole fraction of solvent, now we are going to define this vapor pressure change in terms of the mole fraction of solute. Now this x1 will equals to 1 minus mole fraction of solute, because we have this relationship mole fraction of 1 plus mole fraction of 2 is always equals to 1. So therefore look at this, this can be written as Ps divided by P naught minus 1 is equals to mole fraction of solute. So now look at this, now simplifying this we get 1 minus pH by P naught is equals to mole fraction of solute. So we shall look at this P naught minus pH divided by P naught is equals to mole fraction of. Now look at this, we have this relationship. So P naught minus pH, that is decrease in vapor pressure, because P naught is always greater than pH. So decrease in vapor pressure divided by vapor pressure of pure solvent. This is defined by another quantity which is known as relative lowering of vapor pressure. So this is written as delta P divided by P naught, which is known as relative lowering of vapor pressure of vapor pressure. So this is equals to mole fraction of solute. And what is delta P, which is equals to P naught minus pH, that is lowering of vapor pressure. So another form of Raoult's law. Initially we are saying vapor pressure of solution containing on non-volatile solid is equals to mole fraction of solvent into vapor pressure of pure solvent. This was another form of Raoult's law. Now another statement of Raoult's law is the relative lowering of vapor pressure due to the presence of a non-volatile solute is always equals to the mole fraction of solute present in the solution. So this is second statement of Raoult's law. Now look at this equation B. Now we are having mole fraction of solute. So mole fraction is defined as number of moles divided by total number of moles present in the solution. So this can be written as, now look at this. So we have delta P by P naught is equals to number of moles of solute divided by number of moles of solvent plus number of moles of solute. This is what we call as mole fraction. Mole fraction divided by N1 plus N2. Now we are saying, look at this, solution is very dilute. So for a very dilute solution, number of moles of solvent will be much greater than number of moles of solute. So therefore look at this, delta P by P naught is approximately equals to N2 by N1 for a dilute solution. N1 is much greater than N2, so summation of this N1 plus N2 is approximately equals to N1. So another modified form of Raoult's law is the relative lowering of vapor pressure is approximately equals to the mole ratio of solute to that of solvent. Now since we are having mole, number of moles is defined in terms of mass ratio, so we can say delta P, that is the equation C. So delta P by P naught is approximately equals to mass of solute divided by molar mass of solute into molar mass of solvent divided by mass of solvent. So we say this is mass of solute divided by mass of solvent into molar mass of solute, solvent divided by molar mass of solvent. Now look at this. So this equation, relative lowering of vapor pressure is approximately equals to mass ratio into molecular mass ratio. So this equation D is used for defining a full calculation of the molecular mass of an unknown quantity of solid that is being added into the solution, because of which there is a decrease in vapor pressure. Suppose we have some unknown solute of W2 gram is added to W grams of a solvent. As a result, there is some decrease in vapor pressure. Then what is the molecular mass of the unknown solute that we can define by this equation? Or if molecular mass of solid is given, mass of solvent and molecular mass of solvent is given, then what is the mass of solid that has been added to the solution, because of which there is a decrease in vapor pressure. So either we can define mass of solute or molecular mass of solvent, or mass of solvent or the molecular mass of solvent. So this particular equation is basically used for determining the molecular mass of unknown solute. And this equation, for this, deriving this equation, we have this approximation. So for a dilute solution, N1 is always greater than N2, so N1 plus N2 is approximately equals to N1. So this particular form of equation is known as approximate form of Raoult's law. Of Raoult's law. If this is approximate forms of Raoult's law, then what is the exact form of Raoult's law? So because what I am saying is, during this we have made this assumption because N1 plus N2 is approximately equals to N1. So while using this approximate form of Raoult's law for defining the molecular mass, that molecular mass will be approximate, that will not be accurate. Now since we want to define the accurate value of the molecular mass of the unknown solute, then we cannot make this approximation. Rather than this approximation, we have to define another form, that is known as exact form of Raoult's law. So let's see what is exact form of Raoult's law. So I'll rub this form, then I'll decide what is exact form of Raoult's law. So again we are starting from this equation. We have this delta P by P naught is equals to mole fraction of solute, which is equals to number of moles of solute divided by N1 plus N2. Now we take this equation inverse, taking inverse of this equation. So we have P naught divided by delta P is equals to N1 plus N2 by N2, taking inverse of this equation. Now this can be written as 1 plus N1 by N2. So this is equals to P naught minus delta P minus 1, we take this on left hand side, then is equals to N1 by N2. So this equation, look at this, this is P naught minus delta P divided by delta P is equals to N1 divided by N2, simple mathematical manipulation. Now we have look at this delta P is P naught minus PS, so therefore P naught minus PS divided by delta P is equals to N1 by N2, so therefore this is PS divided by delta P is equals to N1 by N2. Now again we take the inverse of this equation, इसका inverse ले लेते हैं, then we have look at this delta P by PS is equals to N2 by N1. Now look at this value delta P by PS is equals to N2 by N1, whereas delta P by P naught is approximately equals to N2 by N1. So while deriving this particular form of equation, we haven't assumed any approximation. So this particular form is what we call as exact form of Raoult's law. So that is W2 by W1 into M1 divided by M2. This equation, this is equation number E. This equation is known as exact form of Raoult's law. So this is what we call as Raoult's law. So Raoult's law can be expressed in different forms. As I told you, we say vapor pressure of a solution containing a non-volatile solid is always equals to mole fraction of solvent multiplied by vapor pressure of pure solvent. Second, we say relative lowering of vapor pressure is always equals to mole fraction of solute. This is relative lowering of vapor pressure. Then next equation says relative lowering of vapor pressure, that is delta P by P naught, is approximately equals to W2 by W1 into M1 by M2. That is approximate form of Roslow because we have not made this approximation or assumption. Then the exact form of Roslow is delta P by Ps. Now look at it, instead of P naught we are using Ps, vapor pressure of solution. So by use of this exact equation, we will get the exact molecular mass of the unknown solute that has been dissolved in a volatile solvent. So while solving problems, numericals relating to Roslow, you can use any of this equation, but I will rather suggest you to go for this exact form of Roslow, which will give you the exact value of the molecular mass of the solute. So this is what we call as Roslow. So I hope you have got information about what is Roslow, how to express different forms of Roslow mathematically, and what is the condition while using this Roslow. Okay. So this is all about Roslow. Now, having defined this Roslow, now we are comparing this Roslow with Henry's law. Now, we are saying this Roslow is a special case of Henry's law. Now let me explain why this Roslow is special case of Roslow. Now Henry's law deals with solubility of a gas in a liquid, whereas this Roslow deals with the vapor pressure of the volatile component due to the presence of a non-volatile solid. So now look at this, we have this Henry's law. So according to Henry's law, the partial pressure of gas present above the liquid solution is equals to some constant Kh known as Henry's law constant into mole fraction of solvent present in the solution. So this is Henry's law. Whereas Rawls law says the vapor pressure of the volatile component is equals to vapor pressure of pure solvent into mole fraction of solvent present in the solution. Now both these Henry's law and Rawls law deals with the vapor pressure or the pressure of the volatile component. Whereas in case of Henry's law, we are having a gas which is much volatile, whereas in case of Rawls law we are having a volatile solvent. So Henry's law says pressure is equals to Kh into mole fraction, whereas Rawls law says vapor pressure is equals to P naught and X. The difference is, now look at this is the vapor pressure of volatile component, this is also volatile component, this is mole fraction, this is mole fraction, this is Kh Henry's law constant, this is P naught vapor pressure of pure solvent. Now look at this differences between only these two, Kh and P naught. That means if the Rawls law is in the form of solvent, then the solute will follow Henry's law. That means if the solute follows Henry's law, then compulsorily solvent has to follow Rawls law. So this is the reason why we are saying that Rawls law is specific form of Rawls law. But if I say one of the component is following Rawls law, then the other component has to follow Henry's law, that is not correct. If a component follows, one component follows Henry's law, then the other component should particularly follow Henry's law. But the reverse cannot be said to be True. So this is the reason why we are saying that Raoult's law is always a special case of Henry's law, because both deals with the volatile component, whereas Henry's law deals with much volatile component, that is gas, which is being dissolved in a given volume of solution, whereas Raoult's law deals with the vapor pressure of the solvent, which is the volatile, the other component that is non-volatile. So this is the relation between Raoult's law and Henry's law. If you look at this graph, that is pressure versus mole fraction. This is the slope is equals to Kh. This is for equation 1, Henry's law. Take this Raoult's law. That is vapor pressure versus mole fraction. Again, this is an equation of still and passing through origin, but difference is here the slope is equals to P naught. So this is the, now as I told you, if the Henry's law or if the solute follows Henry's law, then the solvent will follow Raoult's law, but the reverse is not true. So, but both this Henry's law and Raoult's law deals with the volatile component. So this is a brief idea about how the vapor pressure of a solution varies with the mole fraction when we dissolve a non-volatile solute in a volatile solvent. So this is all about vapor pressure. Hope you got the point. Now the next point that we are going to discuss is, now we take two liquids, solution of two liquids, and both the liquids are volatile, and both component follows Raoult's law. So that means instead of having a non-volatile solute in a volatile solvent, we are having a volatile solute in a volatile solvent. So the vapor pressure will have contribution of both the component, and strictly we are saying that both component follows Raoult's law. Then let's see what is the vapor pressure of the solution of this type of solution. Now we starting with component A and B. So we have components A and B. Both are present in the solution and both are volatile. Then now look at this. Since both A and B follows Raoult's law, then the vapor pressure of A in the mixture according to Raoult's law is vapor pressure of pure component into mole fraction of A. Similarly, vapor pressure of B present in the solution is equals to vapor pressure of pure B into mole fraction of B. That is what we call as Raoult's law, because both component A and B is following Raoult's law, and both will have contribution to the total vapor pressure of the solution. So we have equation, let this be equation 1, this is equation 2. Then the total pressure PT is equals to vapor pressure of A plus vapor pressure of B. Now let this is equation 3. Now look at this, we have vapor pressure of A, so this is equals to PA naught XA plus PB naught XB. Now we can express this mole fraction of A in terms of mole fraction of B, or mole fraction of B in terms of mole fraction of A. So now look at this, I'll give you some modified equation. So this is equals to PA naught XA plus PB naught. So mole fraction of B is 1 minus mole fraction of A, or we can also write down this way, PA naught mole fraction of A is 1 minus mole fraction of B plus PB naught x B. So either we express in terms of mole fraction of A or in terms of mole fraction of B. Both are equal. So I'll show you the relation. This is equals to, now simplifying this equation, we have PA naught minus PB naught into mole fraction of A plus PB naught. So total pressure in terms of mole fraction of A, P naught A minus P naught B into XA plus PB naught. In terms of mole fraction of B, this is equals to PB naught minus PA naught into mole fraction of B plus PA naught. So this is equation number 4. So total, we are expressing this total pressure in terms of mole fraction of A or in terms of mole fraction of B. So we have these three equations. So individually A and B is following Rolle's law. Then total pressure, which is equals to partial pressure of A plus vapor pressure of B. So this total pressure is expressed in terms of mole fraction of A or mole fraction of B. What is XA and XB? Represents mole fraction of A and B in liquid solution. Mole fraction of A and B in liquid solution. So if we have total pressure and vapor pressure of pure components, then we can easily define what is the mole fraction of A and B in solution. Or if total pressure and vapor pressure and mole fraction is given, then what is the vapor pressure of another component, that can also be defined. So we have to use this equation according to our requirement. Now look at this. I'll combine this equation here. So graph. So this is vapor pressure process composition graph. Composition in terms of mole fraction. So we are starting from this. Mole fraction of A equals to 1. If mole fraction of A is 1, then mole fraction of B will be 0. Here mole fraction of B is equals to 1. Mole fraction of A is equals to 0. Now let's assume a case where A is more volatile than B. Assuming A to be more volatile, that means EA naught is greater than EB naught. Now look at this equation 1. If mole fraction of A equals to 1, then PA is equals to P naught. So let's say this is PA naught. Now at this particular point, mole fraction of A is 0. So if mole fraction of A is 0, then PA will be 0. That means the vapor pressure of A varies from this particular point to 0. So we can say this is this graph. So this is equation A. So PA is equals to PA naught XA, equation A. Now look at this particular point, XB equals to 1. So if XB equals to 1, so look at this equation 2. Mole fraction of B is equals to 1, so the partial vapor pressure of B is equals to vapor pressure of pure component. So at this particular point, we have pure components. So the vapor pressure is equals to vapor pressure of pure B. Look at this at this particular point, where mole fraction of B is 0. So if mole fraction of B is 0, then vapor pressure of B will be equals to 0. So this vapor pressure of B varies between this 0 and this point. So this particular point, this is vapor pressure of P is equals to PB naught X B. So this is equation 2, this is equation 1. Now look at this equation 4. At this, look at this, mole fraction of A is 1, mole fraction of B is 0. If mole fraction of A is 1, look at this, total pressure is Pn naught XA plus Pv naught XB. Mole fraction of A is 1 means Pn naught, mole fraction of B is 0 means, so total pressure is equals to Pn naught. We have this point. At this particular point, mole fraction of A is 0. If mole fraction of A is 0 means Pn naught into X is 0. Mole fraction B is 1, so total pressure is equals to Pv naught. So this total pressure varies between this Pn naught and Pv naught. So we have this. So this is total pressure, which is equals to Pa plus Pv, equation 3 or equation 4. So I have combined these three equations 1, 2, 3. So whenever we have an ideal solution in which both component A and B follows Raoult's law, then this is the variation in the graphs of vapor pressure of A, B and the total pressure. Now look at this point of intersection at this particular point. When there is intersection here, take this particular point, take this mole fraction, let this be X prime. Let this point be E, F, G, H. So at this particular point X prime, at X prime composition, total जो pressure है is equals to pressure of A plus vapor pressure of B. So total vapor pressure is this distance. So this distance is equals to EH. So EH, this is total vapor pressure, which is equals to PA, vapor pressure of A. Now look at this is the variation of A. So this distance FH, that is vapor pressure of A plus vapor pressure of B, this distance GH. So that means EH is equals to FH plus GH. This is total. EH is equals to HF plus HG. So this is how we define total pressure from the graph. So this is how we define Raoult's law for a solution containing two volatile liquids, and is both the component follows Raoult's law, and this is the variation of the vapor pressures of A, B and total pressure, and for this we have this different equations. So now look at this. This is the mole fraction of A and B in liquid state. Now since both are volatile, so above this liquid solution will have certain vapors. Now let's try to find the composition of vapor. Means what is the mole fraction of A and B in vapor phase. So for this I have to rub this graph. So we'll discuss, we'll define what is the mole fraction of the components A and B in vapor phase. Composition of vapor. Now since Raoult's law is applicable for liquids, so to define the composition of A and B in the vapor phase, we cannot use this Raoult's law. So to define this composition of vapors, we have to use Dalton's law. From Dalton's law. So now look at this, vapor pressure of A, or the partial pressure of A, is equals to mole fraction of A in the vapor phase into total vapor pressure. Similarly, partial pressure of B is equals to mole fraction of B into total. What is YA and YB? YA and YB, mole fraction in vapor phase. So therefore look at this, YA is equals to PA by PT and YB is equals to PB by PT. Now look at this, we have look at this, PA is equals to PA naught XN and we have this total pressure. So therefore look at this, YA is equals to PA naught XN, that is from Roche law. PA is equals to PA naught into XN. Now since this is mole fraction of A, now we'll express this total pressure in terms of mole fraction of A. So total pressure is PA plus PB. So this total pressure is equals to PA naught minus PB XA plus PB in terms of mole fraction of A. So we can write down PA naught minus PB naught into XA plus PB naught. Similarly look at this, YB is equals to PB naught XB divided by total pressure in terms of mole fraction of B, PB naught minus PA naught into XB plus PA. So this equation gives you the relation between the mole fraction of A in vapor phase to that of liquid phase. So if the mole fraction of the component in liquid phase is given, we can easily define this mole fraction in vapor phase, or the reverse. If the mole fraction of A in the vapor phase is given, then also we can define its mole fraction in liquid, provided PA naught and PB naught is given to you. Now take this inverse. So 1 by YA is equals to PB naught by PA naught into 1 by XA plus PA naught minus PB naught divided by PA naught, or 1 by YB, take this reverse, inverse, we have PA naught by PB naught into 1 by XB plus PB naught minus PA naught divided by PB naught. Now take this equation, that will be equation number 5. Now graphically, the variation of 1 by YA and 1 by XA is always a straight line with slope PB naught by PA naught, and constant is PA naught minus PB naught divided by PA naught, or 1 by YB with 1 by XB is always a straight line with slope is PA naught by PB naught plus constant is PB naught minus PA naught by PB naught. So combining this, so let me show you the graph. Suppose this is 1 by YA, 1 by XA. So we have equation of straight line. We are drawing the graph of 1 by YA plus 1 by XA. So this is the slope, this is constant. This y-intercept is equals to PA naught minus PB naught by PA naught, and this slope is equals to PB naught by PA naught. Similarly, 1 by YB versus 1 by XB is again a straight line. Here the slope is PB naught minus PA naught divided by PB naught, and the slope is equals to PA naught by PB naught. So we have to be very careful. Graph of YA versus XA is not a straight line, but 1 by YA versus 1 by XA is always a straight line. So this is the relationship between the mole fractions of the components in vapor phase and the liquid phase. So there is a possibility for finding mole fraction of vapor provided mole fraction in liquid is given, or the vice versa. So this deals with when both the components, that is A and B, both are volatile and both are completely miscible and the Raoult's law is followed. So in all this, what we are saying is the mole fraction, the vapor pressure of the component, volatile component, is always equals to the total vapor pressure of the volatile component multiplied by its mole fraction. That is what we call as the Raoult's law. So we have seen different forms of Raoult's law for solute being non-volatile, dissolved in volatile solvent, or when both solid and solvent are volatile. So there are different forms of Raoult's law and different cases of solution. So this is all about vapor pressure. Okay, thank you.